Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Some people don't respect working hours. They just assume since you're there anyway, it's not an inconvenience. I understand just asking, but if the service is turned down, just accept it. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. No, sir, I'm not hiding roasted chicken from you. We're just closed. So I find this event amusing after the debate I sparked with my friend about the hate relationship food retail workers have with those last-minute shoppers. To clarify what I mean by last minute, I'm not talking about people during open business hours. I'm talking about the people that walk up as you're closing and start demanding service. So for the last 2 days, a post I made sparked debate on whether or not we should have the right to hate last-minute shoppers. And tonight, I had 2 customers that reminded me why we do have that right. Long day. Had 2 call-outs and a no-call, no-show. So already it's a bad day. As the manager, I agreed to work the max amount of legally allowed hours in one shift, 12 hours, to cover the call-out and take the stress off my closing crew. However, it meant that I had to have us done and ready to go at closing time so that I didn't leave them alone when I had to leave. And we were on point. Cue literally 2 minutes before lights off, lady walks up to the sub bar, starts demanding a sandwich. Fine, we're technically still open. She claims it's an easy order, then proceeds to order 5 subs. All right, we'll deal. Me and my crew knock them out in 5 minutes and get the bar re-cleaned in another 5. Meanwhile, I run out to break down the hot bar, rotisserie chickens, baked 8 pieces and fried, and get it done, scanned, out, and out in the trash. So far, we're good. Last-minute sub lady only put us off by 10 minutes. As I come back from trashing the hot bar and am starting to corral my employees out of the department, this old man cuts us off with his cart and asks if we have any more rotisserie chicken. I politely tell him, I'm sorry, but no. The department and bar close at 10 p.m. This guy huffs and puffs and walks away. We make it to the time clock and I've literally got a minute to spare before going over 12 hours. While I'm punching out, I realize that grumpy old man has followed us because the time clock is right next to the customer service desk. He loudly announces, to make sure I hear, that he has a complaint. I literally roll my eyes at him. I'm off the clock. I no longer have to play nice. He proceeds to complain to the MOD that we had the audacity to break the bar down when it was supposed to be broken down, so his late butt couldn't buy chicken. He says that he does it all the time, and he knows we just had it sitting back there and refused to serve it to him. I'm trying to sneak out, and the MOD stops me. Mind you, I've been up and going for the last 13 hours, and am completely beat and just want to go home because I have the morning shift tomorrow, which means at this point, I'm lucky if I get 5 hours of sleep before I have to do it all over again tomorrow. So, first thing I say is, sir, as I explained, we close at 10. That doesn't mean 10:01, that doesn't mean 10:10. It means 10 p.m. If you want hot product, you need to be here during business hours. Guy starts to act up, and MOD, bless his soul, turns to the guy and goes, you heard her, they close at 10. Guy gets pissy and storms off to do the rest of his shopping. My MOD pays for my meal, and I finally get to go home on what's closing in on a 14-hour start-to-finish day. So yes, this is why we dislike those last-minute shoppers. We're overworked and underpaid and exhausted by the end of the day. Let us go home on damn time. And our second story. I can't come in early, but I can't stay late. Fine. So for almost 6 years, I worked as a cake decorator at a well-known department store. The stores have multiple assistant managers who rotate every 6 months to 2 years in what departments they manage. For example, the bakery is part of the fresh area with the deli, produce, and meats, so the manager for that area was over all of those. This is just for some perspective. Keep in mind, many of the managers have never worked in most of the departments themselves before being put into that position. In the bakery, we had become very short-handed in the last 2 years. I was there due to people moving, quitting, or being promoted. Instead of filling those roles, management decided to have everyone in the bakery do the work of 2 to 3 people. I was the only cake decorator. That meant even though I was the decorator in charge of the front cake case and customer orders, I also had to help with freight, baking the bread, and sometimes the donuts. Oh, and I was constantly getting pulled to help the deli, no matter how far behind I got. Most special orders on the weekend are due before 1 p.m., which makes sense because most parties are in the early afternoon. On the weekend, we could get upwards of 20-plus orders in one day, ranging from sheet cakes to 3-tier wedding cakes. Depending on each cake, it could take 15 minutes to decorate to an hour. It just varies depending on the size and what decorations were going on it. Being the only person and having to help my coworkers, this made it hard to complete orders on time. For some reason, the cake decorator is scheduled to come in last, a 10 to 7 shift. Again, orders are usually due early. During the week, this was no issue, but on the weekends, it was another story. I do my best to complete orders Friday evening for Saturday, but because we weren't allowed to turn away any orders, this rule changed a lot. Some managers would tell us we have to cut off at a certain amount of orders or for pickup times. Others would say they don't care. If the customer wanted the cake in 5 minutes, do it. I would sometimes be near the end of my shift, which had to be spent cleaning up my area, and sometimes the other areas of the bakery, among doing other things like mark-offs for the day, and I would get 5 more orders come in, on top of all the other orders, all due by noon. Most of the time, my manager would just okay me to come in at 7 a.m. to complete the orders, no problem. Well, we got a new manager after a rotation. This manager had no clue what the fresh area consisted of work-wise, but thought they did. I had one such weekend come up where I had too many orders and not enough time. I went to the assistant and asked them about coming in early. We'll call them AM. AM. No, we need you here till 7 because the deli doesn't want to deal with the bakery customers. This pissed me off more because we constantly help the deli. Me. Okay, but it's almost an hour before the end of my shift and there's no way I can complete all the orders for the morning, clean, and be out of here on time. May I stay late to finish? This would mean I'd get overtime because Friday's the end of their pay week. AM. How many hours do you have this week? Me. 40? Full-time employee. AM. No, you can't have OT. The store can't afford it. Yeah, right. Me. What should I do then? The orders can't get done on time in this case. AM. Well, just have to have someone do them for you in the morning. Me. Okay, who? AM. Don't worry about it. Whatever. So I cleaned up and went home. I messaged my department manager and told him the situation. He was not pleased, to say the least. Next morning, I go in and the orders haven't been touched. Needless to say, almost all the cakes were late, and we ended up having to give a lot of the cakes to the customers for free or at a discount. When I asked about it, I told the store manager what happened. The assistant apparently got chewed out because from there on out, I was scheduled 7 to 4 on weekends. I'd like to say it stayed that way, but we got a whole new management team shortly after, and they wanted me to work nothing but the late shift, making it hard to complete orders again. I left shortly after due to medical problems. Giving away product for free? A-okay. Paying employees more? No can do. And our last story. I kicked an uninvited guest out of our guest house. My husband and I are retired living here in Costa Rica. We're not rich, we're not poor, we're merely comfortably retired after many years working and saving. Things are also much cheaper here. We could not live like this in the States. Before Thanksgiving, my husband met a man who told my husband he was a personal trainer, wanting my husband to hire him. Husband came home and told me he's hiring this guy, who I'm going to call Jose. I shrugged and said, okay. He struggled with his weight for years. Skinny or chunky, I love him anyways. I keep telling him to be happy about his body and work gradually, but his personality, it's all or nothing and sets him up spectacularly for failure. Day 1 with the trainer, Jose. Jose shows up and proclaims the hubby needs fruit smoothies and yoga to lose his weight. Very long story short, I emerge and my large kitchen is trashed. I mean cut up peels and fruit pieces everywhere. Half my industrial-sized bottle of raw honey was gone, and so was the last of our sugar. So he's feeding my husband a drink that would send a diabetic into a coma. Every towel in the house was now dirty and on the floor. Outside was trash too. I saw red. I have mast cell disorder, and I have good days and bad days. I don't need this type of workload thrown on me, particularly since the lady that comes in twice a week to help me out with the cleaning is now back in Nicaragua, and all the cleaning falls on me now, including some I'm not supposed to do according to my doctor, like dusting and sweeping. My husband bounces in all happy and says that the trainer's moving in with us for the next month, and Jose will train him for free in exchange for rent. I immediately say no, telling him I'm not comfortable with Jose moving in because husband just met him. Could be a serial killer or a scammer for all we know. He tells Jose I'm the big meanie and would not let him move in. I'm okay with being thought of as the a-hole in this situation. Jose moves in a week and a half later after telling a tale of having to go to his brother the next day that makes no sense. That one short overnight stay morphs into a week that includes staying up all night drinking, playing loud music and keeping the lights on, breaking the washer, dryer, Roomba, and other small appliances in the guest house, coming up with schemes like filming a yoga video at our house, wanting to teach a huge yoga class to strangers at our house, asking for more and more money after having received $500 for training, stealing plants from neighbors to re-landscape our yard, and all sorts of assorted nonsense that week's stay that was supposed to be one night. I lost my temper and angrily threw him out. Now my husband says I'm the a-hole for not giving him a chance. ETA. My husband ran into Jose at the grocery store, and Jose went on a long anti-religion rant against American Christians after husband asked why he'd stopped going to church. I got an apology. Apparently he finally figured out this guy's a scammer. Jose's a professional bum/couch surfer. He quite obviously knows very little about the science of training or nutrition. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.